Let's close as we always do. Head around the Inside Politics table, ask our great reporters, share a little something from their notebooks, help get you out ahead of the big political news just around the corner. Margaret Tallon?
So as if General Kelly didn't have enough to do, enough challenges in his first couple of weeks, the West Wing is going to be largely closed for mandatory renovations for about half of August. And this is going to, kick in just about days after he starts his new job. They're doing repairs to the HVAC system, which is 27 years old, but apparently, like in dog years, is really 81, so it needs to be replaced. There was a leak in the roof the other day. They got to do paint, carpeting, wiring. So all these offices are going to be moved temporarily to the EEOB. So on top of all the actual structural challenges, he's going to have some geographic challenges as well.
Maybe you can add a few cameras to keep track of who's going in and out of the Oval Office. Michael?
John Kelly's just the first of several personnel issues for Donald Trump in this administration. He's got to figure out if he's going to rein in Anthony Scaramucci. Is he going to stop belittling Jeff Sessions? But a couple other points of tension here for Trump. Rex Tillerson's very frustrated that the White House is running more and more of the foreign policy out of the White House. And H.R. McMaster, he's not gelling with Tillerson, he's not gelling with Steve Bannon, and has been rebuffed by the president himself on a request for modest increases in troops in Afghanistan.
Fun job, Michael.
It seems like about 20 news cycles ago, but there is the question of Jeff Sessions and what is the president going to do about his attorney general. If he does fire Jeff Sessions and try to get a replacement, the best possible option for him is to do a recess appointment. This is something they're talking about in the White House. And interestingly enough, two of the top lawyers in the administration are somewhat experts on this topic. Noel Francisco, who is in the Department of Justice right now, he's the nominee to be Solicitor General, and James Burnham, who's one of the White House counsel lawyers. They both argued in front of the Supreme Court 2 years ago, actually against the Obama administration and their attempt to make recess appointments. Those are some people that I imagine the president is, calling on for counsel on what to do if he decides to go ahead and do a recess appointment.
Bet they took good notes about what the other side said back then. Sarah?
Well, the White House renovations might actually be coming at a pretty good time for Trump, because we're told that yet again he would like to get out of town, hit the road a little bit. We're expecting him to spend some time in August at, of course, his golf club in Bedminster. But we're also told he's going to be doing some more rallies. He's going to be hitting the road. He's going to West Virginia next week. The thing to watch, though, is whether the president has learned any lessons from this healthcare defeat. What does he do when he is on the road? Does he try to sell specific agenda items? Does he try to sell specific elements of tax reform, or do we get the same sort of kitchen sink, slam the media, rant about whatever you're feeling that day, and maybe do a little hat tip to tax reform along the way? We will see if he has learned any lessons about having strong partners on both ends of Pennsylvania Avenue. August will be a good test of that.
Great month to travel. August, of course. I'll close with this. Watch the dynamic between the president and the top two Republicans in Congress as we move into August and beyond. Speaker Paul Ryan and Majority Leader Mitch McConnell, while usually polite in public, have never been warm and fuzzy when it comes to President Trump. They view him as unpredictable, unreliable, and they think it's getting worse. The president openly beat back one of the speaker's top priorities in tax reform, and he just forced Ryan ally Reince Priebus out as chief of staff. A long list of unwelcome tweets challenging Leader McConnell continued Saturday as the president suggested Republican senators are fools and that McConnell just doesn't know how to make the best use of his power. Allies described both the speaker and the majority leader as beyond frustrated with the president's behavior and increasingly worried they will pay a price for it in the 2018 midterms. Keep an eye on that.